All right, now in this next video, I'm going to show you how to do a portion of what's called an amortization schedule. Okay? So when you know your monthly payment, you can generate one of these tables. Okay? So you can know, well, you already know that you're going to make that monthly mortgage payment every single month throughout the entire term of the loan. So every month for every year of the loan. What the amortization schedule does is it shows you the breakdown, how much of that mortgage payment goes towards paying off the interest that you owe and how much goes towards paying down the principal, paying off the principal amount that you borrowed. Okay? So I'm going to show you this, but this is not something that you're actually going to be tested on. All right, so let me go ahead and get a little more room here. And I'm just going to kind of show you this. I think there's one thing I want you to know about this. And I think by doing one of these amortization schedules, you'll understand something about these mortgage payments that I think is important for you to know. All right, so what we're doing here, so really, this amortization schedule would not just have 2 lines. It would have a lot of lines. This mortgage is for 15 years, and you're going to be paying this monthly payment for every month of those 15 years. So that means your amortization schedule would actually have 180 lines, a line for every month, right? So this would keep going. You'd have 180 lines. We're just going to do the first couple so you get the sense of how this all works. All right, the first thing we're going to need is we're going to need what the monthly mortgage payment would be. So this one had a 15-year term and an interest rate of 6.5. So I'll be able to use the table. So I'm going to go to the table and I'm going to look for the 15 years. Okay, 15 years. So that's here. And then it was 6.5, so that's here. So 8.71107 is the factor that I'm going to use from that table. Okay? So let me get that factor written down. So that factor is 8.7, it was 8.71. 107. Okay, now those factors in that table would be how much you owe, how much you would have to pay every month for 15 years to pay off a $1,000 mortgage. This one here is a little harder than the others. This would be 143.2 thousands. It's got that extra little $200 there. So to get the monthly mortgage payment amount, you would have to multiply by 143.2. All of our others ended in 3 zeros. That's why they felt a little easier. Okay, so I'm taking that 8.71107 times 143.2, and I'd get then the total of my mortgage payment. So that would be $1,247.43. Okay, that would be both A and E. So we know this is $1,247.43. We know this would be $1,247.43. We know every month, except for maybe the very last one, you'd pay $1,247.43. The very last one, they're going to adjust for any kind of little round off errors. All right, now here's the deal. That monthly payment that you paid, that $1,247.43 that you paid that first time, does not all go towards paying off the $143,200. See, you owe them a little extra, right? The interest for the privilege of them loaning you that money. So what we're going to do, this principal that we owe right now is $143,200. We're going to find out what portion of that monthly payment goes towards paying off the principal and what portion goes for interest. Interest is that money the bank gets for having loaned you the money. Okay, so I need to calculate the interest first. So this is for part B, what I'm doing, finding that interest payment. So I'm going to take the amount I owe, and I'm going to use the simple interest formula and multiply it by the interest rate, but I'm going to wind up multiplying that by 1/12 because I'm only calculating the interest for 1 month. So I'm doing the PRT formula. Multiplying by 1/12 is the same as dividing by 12. So you can enter it divide by 12 or multiply by 1/12. What I wind up with is $775.67. Okay, and I did round, so let me remind myself. I rounded a little bit. Okay, so what happens is the bank first takes that $775.67 and they pay themselves. That's the amount of that monthly payment that is used to pay off the interest that you owe them. Well, if that's going towards the interest, then to get how much goes towards the principal, you would take that monthly payment you made and you would subtract the $775.67. And when you do that, that remaining $471.76, that is what they apply. That is what goes towards paying off the principal amount. So for Part D, the balance that we still owe, we would take the original amount we owed and we would subtract the $471.76. So after that first month, we're going to owe a little less. We're now going to just owe $142,728.24. Okay, so that this is now no longer 143. It's $142,728.24. All right, so then we're going to go through this process for one more round. Okay, in reality, this would happen for 180 times because we're borrowing the money for 15 years and we're going to pay that monthly payment for every one of those 15 years. All right, so we know E already. It's the regular mortgage payment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on something similar to what I did to get B. I'm going to work on F. All right, but this time I now only owe the start of month 2. That's how much I owe. The interest rate is 6.5%. And I'm just calculating the interest for 1 month, which is a 1/12 of the year. So I'm going to work that out to get this $773.11. Okay, what that is the amount of that monthly mortgage payment, that $1,247, the amount of that the bank uses to pay the interest that I owe. That goes to them. Okay? Then the remaining amount of this mortgage payment, so the rest of it, okay, after they pay themselves $773.11, what's left, okay, which is $474.32, that is used to pay off that loan amount. Okay, so the $773 goes towards paying off the interest, paying the interest I owe, and then the remaining $474 goes towards paying off the original amount that I borrowed. Okay, so to get H, what I need to do is take the original amount, or how much I still owed at the start of the second month, and then I'm going to subtract that $474.32 that they applied towards the principal, and what's left is $142,253.92. So at the end of the second month, I owe less. I owe $142,253.92. But did you notice how the whole entire $1,247.43 was not applied towards paying off the principal? And then do you notice when I got to compare like what happened for payment 1 versus payment 2? Do you see how the interest payments are going down? Like less of the monthly payment is going towards interest. And then over here, so this is decreasing, right? This is less is going towards the interest, and more than what I had previously is going towards. So this is more than what they applied towards the principal. But then I owed less, okay, in interest, because I've paid off a little bit of that principal. Well, that idea would keep happening. The payment would stay $1,247.43, but I would owe less and less of that payment would go towards interest, and more of it would go towards principal, until finally at the end of the 180 payments I made, finally at the end of that, the balance of the principal would be 0, and I would not owe them any more interest. So that's really what I want you to understand, okay? So even though you're not being asked to do an amortization schedule, I want you to understand that most of that monthly payment at the start is going to go towards paying the interest that you owe the bank. Then as the principal amount decreases, you'll owe less and less interest, and more of the payment will go towards paying off that principal. But early in a loan, most of your monthly payment goes to paying off the interest. Very little of it is going to pay down the principal that you owe.